Hello again. I have about 70 odd stories and big challenges to know which one to do. And I thought about that for about 2 seconds. That just about is about as long as I can concentrate. And I had a dear cousin. He's from Welland or something like that, Ontario, and he came west to give me a hand on the ranch, and I put him in my new tractor, and well, he looked pretty good running that '52 Ford tractor. It was really a lot of wonderful machine. And one day he said he'd been there about 3 weeks, and he said, I need you to take me hunting. I said, well, all we have to do is go out the back door and climb that little thing that I call a mountain. It's not really a mountain, but if you grew up in Ontario, it's about 2 or 3 times as large as the Blue Mountains. And my timekeeper, the referee, is indisposed at the moment, so I thought I'd get started. And he'll probably come look at the clock anyways, because I have 20 minutes, so we're going to get this done. I asked my cousin, I said, you have your little GoPro camera? And he said, of course. I said, well, we were standing at the bottom of the tree covered little mountain type thing. And I said, will you pull that out there, Sonny? I said, I don't ever recall having anyone do a video of me. And he never did show it to me. But anyways, he pulled it out, and I told him, I said, we're going to climb this mountain, and I tell you, we don't know what we're going to run into up there. I said, could be a moose. I said, I'd like that. Could be an elk, and that's not so bad. I said, well, we have two types of deer, and of course I don't shoot them. They're too pretty, and I mean, they're just too pretty. And I said, we have grizz and we have black bear. And I said, do you know? I said, we have mountain lion. He signaled me that I'd talk too much, which I'm used to. And anyways, he shut the camera off, and we walked over to the bottom of the cut line to go up the hill. And I'm not going to tell you what we did, because it's kind of like a hunter's trade secret, but I want you to know we went up about 100 yards. So we're about 200 yards from the house, and he sat down, and there's something in my heart. I just knew he was on my left side, and we were sitting at a fence post, and I just couldn't. I just tapped him on the shoulder. I told him to move over. People tend to do what I suggest they do. And he did. And he offered me a can of beer, and I said, I don't like that stuff. Anyways, it was dead still quiet. I mean, I could hear myself breathing. Of course, I wheeze a bit nowadays, so that's all right. So he opened that lid on that can, and something caught my eye up the trail about 150 feet, and I saw 2 inches of 2 animals. One was going to the left, and I'm telling you, the other one was really going to the right, and they looked kind of like the same color of deer, and but they weren't. So I hit him on the leg, and what that meant was, y'all just get that camera out, Sonny, because we're going to have some fun here. I looked up the trail, and I took my little crossbow. I'm a kind of I've lost so many body parts. Anyways, I broke a whole lot of stuff, and my elbow there's only part of my elbow left, and so I used a crossbow. So I put that crossbow about where I thought the animal was going to come out, and I'm telling you that scope looked a lot bigger than I ever anticipated, because the mountain lion just lunged out on that trail, and that mountain lion looked to his right uphill. That's what they do. You always plan your attack from where you figure the enemy's coming, and then that big kitten, it looked at me. I have never spent much time in front of a mirror, but I did spend enough time to know that there wasn't that much to look at and so I spent as little time as a kid in front of the mirror in the bathroom. I never take my hat off. And that big cat turned and looked at me. And we made this wonderful eye contact. And then it started to come. And it only come about half throttle. And where's that? It seemed like pretty quick, given it was about 150 feet away or something. And that big cat started to growl like a dog. I never had much experience with mountain lions. I had one walk me down a mountain one time screaming like a woman, and I thought it was a woman when it started, and had my big son with me. And I'm telling you, I about really was wanting to walk backwards and him forwards and so on. But that cat, they say animals are afraid of you. Well, idiots say that because we're just on the food chain, and those kittens, they're right near the top, and we're lucky to be able to breathe. And I didn't do squat. I just kept my crosshairs on my crossbow lined up with that kitten's chest, and I thought, I can't shoot until I'm sure that I'm going to kill it, because I'll surely die. Anyone that knows me knows that's not a big issue with me, but we're not going there today. And I waited, and that big cat, it got bigger and bigger all the closer it got. And that big cat, I thought, you're going to plant your feet. You have to plant your feet, because you're going to jump, and when you jump, I'll either hit you or I'll be a dead man, because as short as I am and as Irish as I am, I honestly don't think I'd do real good hand to hand with a mountain lion. That cat, it planted its feet at 18 feet from me, and I let that little arrow go, and I nailed it right in the chest, and it jumped, and I thought, oh dear God, but the thing is, it went straight in the air, and no one in their right mind would ever believe how high a cat can jump. And it's like you take a real mean-spirited feral cat, and somehow you just happen to grab it by the scruff of the neck, and it just tries to kill you. You multiply that by about, I would like not to exaggerate, so I'll only say about 100 times. And that's a mountain lion. That cat went so high in the air, it blew blood, everything all over the place. It came down, I saw it, I watched, I couldn't blink. And as it got near the ground, it stroked the end of the arrow off. That was 7.5 inches, we measured it. I mean, I had about 10.5 inches in its chest, and it hit the ground, and it went the other way. I didn't realize it at the time, but the other cat that I'd seen was coming up behind us. They don't hunt in teams, but it may have been young, might have been a couple for all I know. They don't hang out too much except to breed, but it was fall. Who knows? Not too much of an authority on animals breeding. Not too much of an authority on humans breeding either. Anyways, that cat, he had left, and I stood up, and I looked around, and my cousin, he stood up, and he just ran his mouth for about 10 minutes, and I thought, this is just like being married. I'm not getting a word in edgewise. And then I thought, I don't have anything to say. And that cat, it took off, and it blew blood all over the place, all over the ground. And I went to looking for it. And my cousin, he kind of walked behind me, and I looked for that cat, and I couldn't find it. And I finally thought, it's a $10,000 fine for killing a cat. And then I thought, well, quite possibly, if a cat's trying to kill you, you might be all right. So I phoned the game warden. We called it, when I grew up, it was a game warden. Well, we also referred to him as the enemy because we pretty much we poached, and I don't mean eggs, but we poached anything. We ate everything. Anyways, I phoned the guy, and he said he'd meet me, and he is very angry. And he said I'd meet you at the ranch. And so I was kind of standing there hanging out, and he finally pulled up, and little man, bad combination. Little men they're not nice. I've really tried to learn how to be nice and not citified or not a pussy. But anyways, game warden is talking to himself. I thought I understand that. I'm just about old enough. I understand about talking to yourself. I actually understand about answering myself. But nonetheless, he was saying, I don't know what gun to take. He said, I said, Sonny, I said, you give me any of your guns. I said, I don't care, rifle. I said, I'd prefer your little handgun. He didn't like me. Anyways, we walked up the mountain. He kept getting upset with me because I don't like following much, and so I was about 10 foot ahead and all that stuff. And two short men, that's a bad combination. We looked for that mountain lion. On the way up, I said, Sonny, have you ever heard a mountain lion growl at you like a dog? And he said, why didn't you tell me that? I said, well, I haven't been attacked by a mountain lion before. I rode near them, I rode around them, and I even walked down a hill with one mountain, really. But anyways, I think I mentioned that. He said, if you had told me that the mountain lion was growling, he said, I wouldn't have wasted the time coming out here to look. And I thought, you getting paid? I wasn't getting paid. I don't understand people. I go to work, I go to work with my whole heart. When I'm done work, I run a haul truck out of Fort Mac. Not bad for a 71-year-old. Every day when the day is done, there's a series of steps coming up from where the bus stops, and I don't think I ever walked up those steps. I just run up those things, and then I just about fall flat in my face. I'm so tired, so dog tired. The game warden, he did his thing, and we were going to track that big cat. Well, I run out of sign at about 100 feet from where the cat was, and it was in rough shape. And that game warden, he was following along behind somewhere, yelling at me about getting behind because he was going to protect me. Last thing I need is a government employee trying to protect me. We couldn't find the cat, and my cousin and I, we hunted that cat the next 3 or 4 days, and by the time the game warden got there to help save my life, I'd got my hunting knife on me, and I just kind of walked ahead, and I thought, the next good thing that I could do as a short Irishman is kill a mountain lion with my knife. Or I thought, man, you're just downright ugly now. You get scratched up any. And I thought, I didn't really care. So we're going to just wrap this up. I sure thank you for listening to me. I've lived alone in a horse barn for 6 years. So when I get a chance to talk to somebody, I just think better than dessert. And so you have a good day. I really liked Red Skelton when I was a kid, and I know that was just shortly after they invented the TV that I was able to watch it. And Red Skelton, he was a comedian. He was a comedian that was clean. His humor was clean. Not like these princesses today that can't say squat without swearing and abusing someone. Red Skelton, he summed everything up at the end of his thing, and he would say, he smiled. You may not know it, but I'm smiling. He would say, God bless you. I want to say, God bless you. I'm going to shut this thing off. This is the third time I did one of these. I kind of like it. You have a good day.